Hello and welcome to Autofocus. Today we are here in Mahabalipuram to talk about a company that is again storming the electric vehicle market. I'm talking about BYD, the Chinese brand that already had the E6 in the market, has focused on electrics as a category and is genuinely delivering cars that are capable of delivering on range, on battery safety and reliability, and design that is very quirky from one perspective, but also at the same time very likable. This is a brand that has worked with the E6, and that E6 MPV is already in the market. We've seen it on the streets regularly now, and this new Atto 3 e-SUV, a vehicle that's going to be squarely focused on the individual car buyer. Atto 3 is a crossover SUV that's about 4.5 meters long. This is not a brand that is being very ambitious. Their expectations in terms of volumes and numbers are still moderate. They're expecting to sell about 1,500 vehicles next year, has about 24 outlets around the country today, and is looking to make niche but very sort of promising inroads into the electric vehicle segment. A design that is meant to be bordering on excess and at the same time very likable. We saw that with the E6 already, and that's what they've done with the Atto 3. It's a design that borders on almost being a little concept-like, but this is a 4.5 meter vehicle, bit like a largish hatch, bit like compact SUV, and a bit like a crossover. The design is still very relatively universally likable. There are no elements here that really are too funky, I would say, but it has a very sporty front side, nice design for the air dam and the front fender, very aggressive from one perspective, and of course the connected headlamps and connected tail lamps feature that we've seen even in the E6 coming through with this Atto 3. The front profile itself is pretty sharp, pretty tapered, very compact SUV like I said, and that is still a statement making design from the front and from the rear. The connected tail lamps come together to deliver the same message nicely. The Atto 3's cabin is seriously funky. One of the aspects that I'm pointing out at, of course, is the choice of theme. BYD has chosen what they call a theme that focuses on a youthful interior, which then gets migrated into a choice of theme which focuses on two aspects. One is a gym and sort of gym-like equipment, and a music theme. When I say funky, I'm talking about the aircon vent fins, for example, which BYD calls dumbbell style aircon vents, and then it gets this muzzle streamlined center console, which is essentially a sort of striated IP under the infotainment screen, and then grip style door handles which also have speakers fitted inside them, and a treadmill style central armrest. All of these sort of contribute into making the interior a little funky while still managing to deliver a fairly well-made cabin feel. The perceived quality is still pretty good. Similar music theme gets transferred onto the door panel. The center console itself features a push-type electronic gear lever and multiple controls, including ones for volume, for mode selection, for ESC on and off, and of course some of the other infotainment functions. The multifunction steering wheel also features other controls which give access to much of the infotainment related stuff, and of course the drive information that you can toggle between for displaying on the instrument panel. The 12.8-inch adaptive rotating electronic pad, as BYD calls it, is basically the infotainment screen, which can be flipped into either a portrait mode or a landscape mode. The infotainment screen also delivers a very clear and very useful 360-degree holographic image while you put it into parking mode, or if you were to want to look at your surroundings in a tight traffic spot. The seats were pretty comfortable, fairly sporty construction with good side bolsters. This is also a vehicle which gets driver assistance systems, what BYD calls di-pilot systems. I did feel the steering correct itself in some of the places where the lane markings were clear. along the drive down ECR and beyond. More concept car like than production car. Funny thing though is that it comes together somewhat nicely. It doesn't feel overblown, it doesn't feel like overkill. There are small elements that independently look like they are overkill, but it still comes together fairly nicely, and the choice of materials is also pretty good. For a vehicle in this segment, this does seem pretty decent. So the BYD Atto 3 has been built on a brand new E3 architecture platform. This new generation platform, BYD says, is a more versatile, far more efficient than even before. This platform is a modified skateboard platform which has the same sort of layout with the battery pack under the floor. This platform also can spawn vehicles which are larger and smaller, is what I'm being given to think. This is a brand new architecture that allows BYD to pack a lot of things into one unit: the battery controller, the battery management system, the DC converter, the permanent synchronous magnet motor itself, electric motor itself. All of this have been packed into one unit. Apparently delivers far more thermal efficiency too, with a operating range that could go all the way from sub-zero 10 to about 60 degrees centigrade. Of course, we have also seen BYD and its blade battery being appreciated for its reliability and efficiency. This blade battery is something that BYD swears by. It says that it can handle nail penetration tests, it can handle extreme temperatures, its thermal efficiency and thermal integrity is far better than most of the batteries, is what BYD says. And with the E6 we have already seen this, and BYD says that promise has already been delivered with that vehicle, giving it the advantage that this battery technology then comes with for the Atto 3 also. The BYD Atto 3's battery pack is a 60.5 kilowatt battery pack that is capable of delivering a driving range of about 521 kilometers rated by Air AI, and an NEDC driving range of about 480 kilometers. It is surprisingly accurate. This morning when the vehicle was taken out from the hotel car park, it did show me a 467 kilometer driving range with about 97% of charge. Now we do expect to get more than 300 kilometers of driving range. Like in the E6, this one too is genuinely capable of giving a surprising amount of driving range, even though the driving style can be quite varied. If you are cautious, you should be able to get easily 350 kilometers plus of driving with this Atto 3. And my guess, by the evening today, I should still have about 250 to 300 kilometers of driving range left with the battery pack. The battery pack can be charged in about 53 minutes, and the battery pack is positioned under the floor, and what you see here under the bonnet are all the controllers and components and other air conditioning and cooling components right here. So what you will not get is a frunk, but the trunk at the boot at the back can give you about 440 liters of space, with all 5 seats being used, and with the second row of seats folded, you should be able to get about 1340 liters of boot space. Now this electric motor generates about 200 horsepower of peak power and about 310 newton meters of torque. This amount of output for a vehicle of this size, it's not a very heavy car, it's about 1.7 tons or 1750 kgs in weight, and so it is fairly nimble. It gets 3 drive modes: Eco, Normal and Sport, and in Normal and Sport it's pretty quick, and in Eco it does feel restricted in terms of the way it behaves on the road. In Normal and Sport mode, of course, it is quicker, and its Sport mode, of course, being the mode in which it is really pretty quick to drive. On-road dynamics is pretty good. It does feel stable at very high speeds, and there's a lot of that planted feel that a lower center of gravity brings with it. It's also a fairly aerodynamic vehicle with a CD value of 0.29. That said, there is a bit of road noise and wind noise inside the cabin at higher speeds, and of course it is possibly a little exaggerated because of the heavy crosswinds that we're still experiencing after the cyclone has passed Chennai yesterday. But this is still a pretty quick small crossover for its size. Nice planted feel, like I said. The steering is also well connected. The suspension and ride quality is decent. There is no sense of it being a little fragile or being bouncy or being too wallowy. Nice strong hold on places where there's broken tarmac, and overall the ride quality is pretty likable. So that then is the BYD Atto 3, which we've been driving today. This is a e-SUV that is being priced and positioned in the 33 lakhs price segment. It only gets one fully loaded trim variant, and it gets about 4 different color options. This is a fully electric, and so obviously you're going to have to factor in the price of that electric ecosystem that you're paying for. It's decently designed from the outside, funky, but comes together well in the cabin, and there's a lot of equipment that you get, including a lot of driver assistance features. At about 33 lakhs, that is still a decent price for this compact SUV. You would have to wait if you're going to book this vehicle. They've already received over 1,500 bookings, and my guess is it's going to take a while for them to deliver, with the assembly operations entire SKD semi-knockdown assembly operations entire capacity being about 1,500 vehicles a year. They're looking currently at an 80-20 split between the Atto 3 and the E6 that's already in the market. So if you are keen on trying it out, I would urge you to go to their dealership, take it out on a spin, and understand what the Atto 3 has to offer.